Okay, students, again in Protista. Protista are broadly classified into 5 categories. Which are those? Protista. Chrysophytes. Chrysophytes. Second one, dinoflagellates. Third one, euglenoids. Fourth one, slime molds. And fifth one, euglenoids, slime molds. Fifth one, protozoans. Protozoans. These are the 5 groups under Protista. Chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, protozoans. I'll try to explain each one of that in very simple way. So first we'll start with chrysophytes. Chrysophytes. Example for chrysophytes are diatoms. Diatoms and desmids. We call golden algae. Diatoms are best example for chrysophytes. Where we see these diatoms? These diatoms are found in aquatic region, that is in the water. Okay, generally found on the surface of the ocean or the sea. They just float on the surface, and such organisms are called as phytoplankton. Phytoplankton. Any organism which contains green pigment in it and which floats on the surface of the water, generally microscopic in nature, which prepare their own food, they are called as phytoplankton. So chrysophytes or the diatoms are phytoplankton. And now you know that in ocean or in the sea, there are no trees or plants. These phytoplankton are the plants of the ocean. Instead of plants, we can call them as producers. Producers. What are producers? All the green plants are called as producers. Why are they called as producers? Because they produce food of its own, of their own, during the process of photosynthesis. One which produce their own food during the process of photosynthesis are called as producers. All the green plants present on the surface of earth are called as producers. In the ocean, as I mentioned, no green plants, but algae and all that, those are also producer. Diatoms form very huge group of producers. The phytoplanktonic diatoms are the main producer in the ocean, which carry out photosynthesis, release oxygen and absorb carbon dioxide. This is the one important things about diatoms. Then next very important thing is the cell wall of diatom. The cell wall of diatom is made up of silicon, and as a result it is quite tough and strong. When these diatoms die, they go and settle at the bottom of the ocean, but their cell wall will remain as it is, very hard. Okay, siliceous cell wall will remain as it is at the bottom of the ocean, and it forms bed. Okay, huge amount of bed on the bottom of the ocean, and we call that bed of these dead diatom as diatomaceous earth. We call it as diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth, this is very helpful commercially. Okay, in the preparation of syrup, in the filtration of oil, in the it is used for polishing. Like this, it has some uses. This is all about chrysophytes, one group of Protista. Now I am moving to second group of Protista, that is dinoflagellate. Dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates, as the name tells, they have two flagella. They have two flagella. Flagella means whip-like structure, like this thread-like structure. They help in movement. Flagella are the locomotory structure. They just beat flagella and they help for the movement of that particular organism. Even in case of Euglena also we see that. Euglena will not come under this, but I gave example. Now dinoflagellates, they are made up of two flagella. And again they are aquatic, found in the water. They are of different color because of different pigment. Green, blue, orange, red and so on. And out of that, one particular red dinoflagellates. Red dinoflagellate. One example we can give as Gonilix. Gonilix is one example. But anyhow, you can remember red dinoflagellate. Sometime they occur in ocean in large quantity. They multiply and they occur in such a huge quantity that the entire ocean or the sea looks red in color. And we call that phenomenon as red tide. We call it as red tide. Red tide, entirely red in color. But it is not good because it releases some toxic substances that cause death of many aquatic organisms, especially fishes. Red tide because of dinoflagellate, red dinoflagellate. So this is second group. Third group, we will move on to euglenoids. Euglenoids. Third one, euglenoids. As the name tells, the best example for euglenoid is Euglena. The best example for euglenoid is Euglena. Euglena is somewhat of this type. Like this. This is Euglena. The speciality of this Euglena, again they are microscopic, single celled and found in water, even in generally in fresh water. These euglenoids, very interesting. They act both as plant and animal. They act both as plant and animal. Now first question, why plant? In presence of sunlight, they have green pigment. In presence of sunlight, with the help of green pigment, they carry out photosynthesis. They carry out photosynthesis and prepare their own food. So they are plant. In absence of sunlight, in dark, in absence of sunlight, they cannot carry out photosynthesis because for photosynthesis, light is very much required, sunlight is required. So in absence of sunlight, they act as predator. They act as predator. You know what is predator? Predator are the organism which feed on their prey. Like if a snake catches frog, snake is predator. Now this act as predator and hunt for the smaller organism than them as their food. They start hunting for the organism, which is animal behavior. Thus they have both plant and animal property, and such organism is Euglena, come under euglenoid. Now moving on to fourth type of protista, and that is slime molds. Slime molds. Slime molds generally grow on dead and decaying part, generally leaf. When the leaves fall down on the ground, on that we will find slime molds. They start growing on that, just they are decomposers, okay. They just feed on decaying matter. Just they start expanding on that. They produce spores. They produce spores, and these spores fly off in the air. Wherever they go and fall, again there the formation of new slime mold take place.